The world is moving into a new era when water will be a resource as prized as oil.
Do you live in one of the 10 most polluted U.S. cities?
That if we want to carry on and grow, we have to change our way of thinking.
But these are not normal times.
Unenviable honour of being China's most polluted.
The smog impacts my children's health.
Coal as the dominant form of power generation.
There's a lot going on beneath the surface in Dubai that we don't necessarily see.
Game on here. A trade war between the United States and China is here.
America as like the biggest economy in the world.
My name is Maria. How does trade and oil affect the environment? How are they related? How does migration affect the environment? What about airline industry? What happens to us? What happens to the airline industry if suddenly, all of a sudden, prices for the flights, what if they increase? This particular video will be about Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, USA, and Iran.
Probably China.
United States of America.
I'd have to say China.
In my opinion, the most polluted country is Egypt.
In my opinion, it's India, but followed really closely by China.
I think China is the most polluted country in this world.
I think China is the most polluted country because there are 1 billion people living there and there are so many factories of every single company. I think it's one of the most polluted countries in the world.
I think China is the most polluted country in this.
I would say that it might be Cyprus or Greece or Italy. They have all their refugees coming from the Middle East and like crashing there.
I think it'll be something like Afghanistan.
USA.
Guessing USA?
I think it's Turkey.
I might be a little biased, but I would have to say America, but they are implementing a lot of new regulations on how many people enter the United States daily. Actually, I changed that to Canada. I changed it to Canada.
I think the US is affected the most by migration.
I don't really know the answer, but from my own opinion, my country is also if affected by migration. There are a lot of people every year living, and this affects our country's economy.
I think United States.
Definitely. Venezuela has the biggest reserves of oil, and it's crude oil, and it's very contaminated.
Yeah, we're sure 100%.
Yes.
Yes, I think so.
In the past, oil has not been related, but in the past few years, the government has started to export a lot of oil.
Yes. They don't like admitting it, but oil is definitely a big factor on where we contribute help to other countries.
Australia doesn't have so many reserves, therefore we import the oil from other countries.
In our country we don't have oil, we just borrow it from Russia. That's it.
Yeah, I mean India is like the third largest oil importer, and yeah.
There's not even like green policies there. Trash is everywhere.
I think quite a big amount. It's part of the G7, so.
A little bit. We recycle, we throw the garbage, we have lots of trees.
A lot, because we're a big population.
Of course, my country contributes to global warming, but it's not one of the countries that are the main causes of global warming.
Just because of the sheer scale of our country and population, and like the vastness of our military, I'd say our country contributes a large amount to the global climate change issue and like pollution of the ozone layer.
Australia has the highest per capita of emissions of greenhouse gases in the world.
I think my country doesn't contribute too much to global warming. We're a pretty small country, we're just on a corner chilling.
I mean, we are a huge country, so we affect the global warming a lot.
for anything with regards to Venezuela. It's a mess.
Japan hasn't had many recently, but the UK has been keeping up to date with the EU laws. And
I do not think so.
Yeah, recently the government made an action to reduce the amount of carbon dioxide emitted into the environment.
Yes, so we actually have the EPA, which is like it's a group of people like fighting to prevent like climate change and global warming. But in these days, we haven't really been too effective with it because our president has denied the actual occurrence of climate change and global warming, and instead wants to spend his money on a wall.
Australia doesn't really have that many policies, but as a whole, we're just trying to really reduce the amount of greenhouse gases we use.
I don't really think so, no.
I think like a few years back, the Indian government signed the Paris Agreement for the climate change.
It's a list of their concerns right now. The political instability there is so terrible that they're more concerned about being able to find food or having a decent government that is not stealing all the money.
Japan doesn't really focus too much on climate change, but it's actually gone worse after the nuclear power plant that wasn't working in 2011. So now it's not as recognized.
They don't feel any difference. It was cold, still cold in Russia.
I don't think we do anything. Our country is just amazing, you know, it helps global warming and everything. It's so good.
The population hasn't reacted to about anything.
In my opinion, it's pretty split. I mean, it depends where you go. A lot of people are in denial about climate change because they don't want to have to take effect or take action against it. But then you get the more like educated people who are more focused on like the well-being of other countries and not just thinking about their own self in the United States. And they're actually trying to do things, and they want to contribute to helping or reduce the amount of pollution going up into the air in the country.
Warming. Australia's population doesn't show that much concern, therefore there are no protests or riots.
Warming. And they don't really react to climate change, they have their own problems.
I mean, our population is pretty concerned about the climate change.
Oil is still the main form of energy for the world, and it provides incredibly solid and profitable trade opportunities between countries. Many people rely on transport to get to and from work, which means pollution will always be on the rise. Trade and oil have bad effect on water in our world, and they spread as a thin layer. Migration is a movement generally from poor to developed countries, which is quite obvious. It's one of the most pressing issues nowadays, and it's a survival strategy. It's formed of large movements of people, and it increases greenhouse gas emissions. Airline ticket pricing recently seemed like something unbelievable. The numbers change every week, day, or even hour. But what are the reasons? First of all, whether the route is typically used by business or leisure travelers, how booked up the flight is, the real-time bookings and cancellations, and moreover, the airlines have to justify all the costs that go into operating the journey. An increase in price leads to a decrease in demand. People complain, but still purchase the tickets, so the demand doesn't really fall. Regardless of constant dramatic increase in flight prices, people keep purchasing tickets. And regarding the moaning of people that salaries are too low, people don't stop traveling. Air companies use this strategy for their own benefit. Airlines assume the demand won't fall based on the given data. Airline industries have a right to raise the prices in order to benefit themselves.
Why? Why?
Why? Why?
Why?
Why? Why?